Let's Talk About Pain, a podcast from the Quebec Pain Research Network. In each episode, we discuss the latest advances in pain research with guests from across Quebec in the health and research communities. Enjoy your listening.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Pain. My name is Megan Tsao, and I'm a PhD candidate in quantitative life sciences at McGill University, working on integrating proteomics and genomics for drug target discovery in complex traits and diseases. I'm under the supervision of Drs. Satoshi Yoshiji and Siri Zhou. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why interdisciplinary backgrounds are important for conducting pain research. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Megan Tsao, a master's student from the Allen Edwards Center for Research on Pain at McGill University, who's under the supervision of Dr. Audrey Grant. We'll talk about her interesting background and research work. So hello, Megan. Thank you for joining us today. And can you first give us a brief self-introduction?
Hi, Cheyenne, and hello, everyone. I'm Megan Tsao, a second-year master's student in Department of Human Genetics under the supervision of Dr. Audrey Grant in McGill University. I did my bachelor's degree in the University of Toronto, double majoring in human biology and sociology.
It's very interesting that you have such a diverse academic background. So why did you choose these majors in these two very different disciplines during your bachelor's? And what led you to McGill, where you're majoring now in human genetics?
I'm really interested in studying health from different perspectives because I believe health cannot be determined by any single discipline. The human biology program I took during my bachelor's provided me with a solid foundation in life sciences, so including biochemistry, genetics, pharmacology, and more. And the reason why I wanted to take sociology as my second major is because it helped me understand the broader social determinants of health, particularly the health inequities faced by underrepresented populations. So while investigating ethno-racial inequalities in health, I realized that addressing these issues actually requires a deep understanding of the genetic variants contributing to the diseases. So kind of a background information regarding what is genetic variance. That's kind of bring back our memory from high school biology. When we are studying alleles, there are 4 types, A, T, C, and G. So let's assume a situation. Some individuals of European descent may have a higher frequency of A in certain position, and this same position for individuals of African descent may have a higher frequency of G. Then this position may predispose to certain diseases, so may lead to European descent individuals have a higher chance of having certain disease, for example. So I would say this is a main motivation for me to study in human genetics, trying to understand this further.
So from what I understand, you have these genetic variants that are at different frequencies within the population. Some people have this variant while another population has a different variant. And you're able to associate these variants to certain diseases. And in particular, you're associating these to different pain phenotypes.
Exactly.
Great. So what brings you to pain research? Since you have a very interdisciplinary, diverse background,
I would say it's mainly because of my past research experience. So I have done research in basic research, clinical research, and pharmaceutical company. So while I was working in neuropsychiatric disorders and some addictions, and also when I was interacting with cancer patients, I realized that all these patients are experiencing pain. So basically, I would say many diseases are related to pain. So I'm just really interested in further studying about pain, and my current research focus is studying pain from human genetics perspective. Like I mentioned, I'm really fascinated by the power of genes, that it is naturally determined at birth and it can further affect almost every biological mechanism.
So I'm sure we're all familiar with pain. We may have all suffered from pain at a certain time point in our lives, but we may not all be familiar with combining pain and genetics. So could you explain what pain genetics is and why is this important to study?
Definitely. Pain genetics is the study of how our genes influence the way we experience and respond to pain. By understanding the genetic factors or genetic variants we mentioned previously that contribute to pain sensitivity, chronic pain conditions, or treatment responses, we can uncover new insights into the biological mechanisms of pain. And I would say this knowledge is crucial for developing personalized approaches to pain management, as different people have different genes, and identifying new therapeutic targets to improve patient outcomes.
So as you say, there are many different aspects of pain. You can look at pain sensitivity, chronic pain conditions, treatment responses, but what particular aspect of pain are you studying? Can you describe your specific research within pain genetics?
Of course. So, my research focused on studying the genetic factors behind chronic musculoskeletal pain specifically. So, I'm using the data set from UK Biobank, which are about 500,000 individuals from the UK. And according to that data set, the available pain is by studying the by body sites. So, for example, like pain and headache, back pain, knee pain, etc. And I'm focusing on chronic musculoskeletal pain. It is the type of pain that mainly arises from joints, bones, and muscles, and it is often accompanied by many other health problems. For example, like anxiety, depression, cardiovascular conditions, or even some immune related diseases.
So you're looking at pain in the UK Biobank, which are individuals of European ancestry, and you're using these different body sites to define pain. So how are you really defining this phenotype? Are you using different, counting the number of sites where someone has pain? And is there a threshold where you're saying past a certain number of pain sites, this person has this pain condition? How are you defining this?
Thank you for bringing this up. The way I study chronic musculoskeletal pain is based on the pain body site, including specifically 4 body sites: neck and shoulder pain, back pain, hip pain, and knee pain. If you have one of the 4 body sites I mentioned, then you will be defined as chronic musculoskeletal pain cases. And the way I define controls are the people who do not have any acute or chronic pain. And just a quick information sharing that chronic pain is often defined as pain persisted for more than 3 months.
Very interesting. And so, why specifically study chronic musculoskeletal pain, and how do you differentiate that? Or is the study question different if you study acute musculoskeletal pain instead?
I would say right now the reason I focus on chronic musculoskeletal pain is because of the previous study has done in my lab, and we kind of want to continue on investigating deeper in terms of the genetic factors underlying this pain. And I would say it's very different to acute chronic musculoskeletal pain, because based on the current literature review, that acute pain and chronic pain actually have very different etiologies. So that's why we currently just focus on chronic musculoskeletal pain. But of course, we would love to see that using this method that I'm using currently to further apply to different pain. But that will kind of be our future directions.
So you're working with chronic musculoskeletal pain, and you're saying this pain is very different from acute musculoskeletal pain. So what is your research question exactly within this area of pain genetics?
My primary question that I want to answer is what genetic factors contribute to chronic musculoskeletal pain? As right now, most genetic studies look at just one type of pain or health condition at a time, but my work takes a broader approach. So I use a machine learning method to group conditions based on the patterns of co-occurrence. And this allows me to study chronic musculoskeletal pain in a way that can better reflect its complexity. And I hope by addressing this question, I can further uncover the new insights into the causes of chronic musculoskeletal pain and improve our understanding of its connection to other health conditions.
And you mentioned a machine learning method, and it sounds very interesting. Could you elaborate more on this and how you're leveraging this machine learning method?
Of course. So the specific machine learning method I'm using is topic modeling, which is a technique that was developed to discover the underlying themes or topics with a collection of documents. It is actually often used in news. So for example, right now when we are watching news online, we can tell like some news are under sports category or politics category, for example. So sports, politics, these are the topics. So this concept is actually kind of like quantitative clustering. But the main difference is that clustering only allows one word or one document to belong to one specific cluster. However, in topic modeling, each word has the weight or percentage for all topics. And when applying topic modeling into a medical context, it actually assumes each document, which is as a study subject, and it is a mixture of topics. And each topic is a mixture of words. So those words could be the individual's medical conditions. And for the topic, like individuals can consider as a, for example, cardiovascular system. So basically, but based on this hierarchy, that's how I apply to pain.
So using this topic modeling approach, you're studying pain genetics, but how does your work contribute to understanding chronic pain?
I would say my work contributes to our understanding of chronic pain in three main ways. First is to discover new genetic factors, because by using this topic modeling approach, I can identify genetic variants specifically linked to chronic musculoskeletal pain while at the same time considering some other medical conditions. And for example, like it's kind of based on the setup of my topic modeling. If I put the input as medical conditions or the medications that patients are taking, this can like varied. And the goal is hope these findings can help pinpoint the biological pathways involved in chronic pain. And second important contribution is that it can unravel the complexity of chronic pain. As I mentioned earlier, that chronic pain often arises from multiple causes and it is tied to many other health conditions. So by integrating these diverse data and trying to identify the patterns or topics underlying these conditions can hopefully provide a more comprehensive view of chronic pain.
So what are some key challenges in this field of research, in this field of pain genetics research?
It's a very good question. So I believe as pain is such a complex health conditions, I believe different people have different answer to this question. But personally, I would say pain definition is a key challenge because pain is highly subjective as people experience and describe it differently. And these variations in pain endurance and perception can make it actually very difficult to establish consistent criteria for defining cases and controls in research studies. And this is actually a quite big challenge in conducting pain genetics, as we often approach like by comparing the genetics between cases and controls. And if we cannot define case and control well, then it can greatly affect our study results. And other than pain definition, I would say because chronic pain can manifest in various forms. For example, like musculoskeletal pain, the one I'm studying, and there are also like neuropathic pain, cancer pain, a variety of different pain. So each with potentially different genetic and environmental contributors. So understanding the differences is essential, but very difficult.
So understanding this heterogeneity, a very heterogeneous phenotype in pain is extremely difficult, is what I'm getting at from this question. And so there's many key challenges that still need to be tackled.
Exactly.
Great. So what are your future career goals and plans? You're coming up to the second year of your master's degree, and I'm assuming you're wrapping up. So where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? What are your next steps?
So my next step is to do a PhD degree because I want to use this opportunity to further refine my ability, specifically in like thinking more critically, asking clinically relevant questions, and acquiring the necessary skills to address complex health challenges. My long-term career goal is to lead interdisciplinary collaborations across clinical, academic, and industry sectors to translate genetic and multi-omics. So, for example, like proteomics, like Chen Yang's expertise in, can actually hopefully can translate these findings into actionable healthcare solutions. So I would say this is kind of me currently looking myself in 10 years. Hopefully I can get to that stage.
So it seems like with your interdisciplinary background, you'll definitely be able to combine expertise in different areas and achieve this goal. So it's really great for me to see the research that you've done, and I'm looking forward to seeing your next steps. So as we wrap up our conversation, I'd like to end with the question that we always ask our guests. When you think of pain, what are the first 3 words that come to your mind and why?
This is a very creative and interesting question. I would say the first word that comes to my mind is awareness, because chronic pain is deeply personal and often invisible to others. So raising awareness is definitely essential. Understanding pain, no matter from an individual perspective or from a social perspective, can actually help improve empathy, support, and access to effective care. And my second word, I would say resilience, because pain challenges individuals physically and emotionally. Yet many people find incredible strength and resilience in managing and adapting to it. So this resilience, I would say, is very inspiring and central to the human experience of living with pain. So this actually also leads to my last word, which is collaboration. Same as like the theme of our today's episode, addressing pain requires teamwork between researchers, clinicians, patients, and communities. And collaboration, I believe, can foster innovation, ensuring that diverse perspectives are included and helps translate scientific discoveries into meaningful solutions for those living with pain.
So awareness, resilience, and collaboration. Great 3 keywords. So thank you very much, Megan, for participating in our podcast. And thank you to our listeners for tuning into this episode of Let's Talk About Pain from the QPRN. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Pain. Don't hesitate to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and to share the podcast with your friends. For more information, visit our website at qprn.ca or our YouTube channel by searching Quebec Pain Research Network. See you next time.